Hey boys, welcome back to some more NRL Supercoach Season 2020, and in this video we're going to be going through the centre wing options for this year, discussing, having a chat, having to analyse out of who I think is a good pickup, who to maybe steer clear of, and yeah, let's get into it. I feel like it's going to be an easier time here trying to choose, but the centre wing option is not easy. It's not easy at all this year. Because in previous years, you pretty much had the way it worked generally was you might go with one, maybe two sort of like gun center wing options, around that 500 and up range, a couple of lock-ins, and then your other two or maybe even three, depending, you would have rookies. You would get these guys at a bottom dollar, but they were going to start the year, and generally it worked out pretty well. This year, however, we at the moment there's still a few weeks to go, but we don't have many locked in rookies, so it's gonna be a tough one. But let's go through the top echelon at the minute. So Latrell Mitchell obviously is the most expensive, and this is a tough one because I feel like some people think he's a bit of a trap because he's playing at fullback, and obviously there's a lot of talk about him not being fit enough for it, and he's obviously not going to be goal kicking because, Adam Reynolds is a gun goal kicker. I'd be absolutely shocked if Reynolds did not continue goal kicking for the Rabbitohs. So he loses points there, but honestly, I think he's going to go well. I think he's going to go well at fullback because I think the Rabbitohs have an extremely strong back line that'll help Mitchell. His carries should be up. He should get more involved than he did at centre. He's got a point. I think the biggest thing here is that he's got a point to prove. Like, a lot of people are coming out, even, past experts of the game are coming out and saying they don't think he's a fullback. So he's got a lot to prove, and that motivation in and itself is a big factor, and I think Mitchell is a guy that can utilize that to his advantage. So I think Mitchell, it is a risk, but I don't think it's really that big a risk. I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford Mitchell, but if you want to go Mitchell at the start, I don't think there's too much wrong with it, because the biggest factor here is that he's playing outside of Adam Reynolds and more predominantly Cody Walker. I talked about Cody Walker last video, and I did sort of second guess myself because there's no Johnny Sutton, but Cody Walker just provides so much space for his outside backs and fullback, and give Latrell Mitchell some room to move, it could be devastating. So I think Mitchell is a pretty good pickup for the top echelon, because I'll go through the rest of the top echelon, and I think he is honestly an absolute standout in the top of the top here. So Nofaluma, this happens every year, dude. Nofaluma pretty much stays at 600k every single year. And every single year, it's like, I can't go a winger that doesn't kick goals. It relies on base stats. I can't go someone who's that expensive. You always like, he's gone really well, but I just can't go someone that expensive. But then, every year, he just continues to perform. He averages 60, 65 every single year. He just continuously bangs out huge base performances. He doesn't score heaps of tries. He just gets heaps of runs, heaps of tackle breaks, heaps of offloads, and he's always up there. Again this year, I can't go for him, but he just does it. He just does it every single year. So if you're a guy that has picked him up at the start of the year, I guess the thing is last year was a little bit different because he was in and out of the team quite often, especially the start of the year. He didn't play much, but he's an absolute gun. But then we go down. Palma Moravsky is number 3 on the list. Number 3 is Palma Moravsky. there is absolutely no chance that you would go Palma Moravsky. So just cross that one out. Ken Mamalu, 550k. Obviously had a stellar year last year, but I would not be going anywhere near Ken Mamalu this year. Again, he's a very good base stat player. Takes a lot of carries. Big boy. He makes a lot of ground, but he had a one-off try-scoring year last year. It went all to his side. I mean, Fusatua on the other side, he was catching a freaking cold, dude. He didn't see any footy. He didn't get any tries. Ken Mamalu, on the other hand, was scoring all the tries. I don't see it happening again. I honestly don't. So Ken Mamalu would not be going there. Micah Sivo in the top 5. Honestly, he has piqued my interest because, I mean, Sivo, he is similar in the sense of Mamalu. Big body, takes a lot of carries. He's got the try-scoring ability. He's got the tackle breaking. But he's playing in a much better team. Like Micah Sivo, he's playing in an Eels side that I think has a lot of points in them. So if Sivo can continue his just beastly runs, break tackles, get line breaks, and he's a guy that's still learning, He's one of these Fijians who is still learning the game. So this year he should have a better understanding. He should be better placed for certain plays. Like I honestly think this is a year Sivo could absolutely kill it. And I am very, very tempted to go with Sivo as a starting player. Very, very tempted. He's just an absolute monster. And yeah, and another big thing here, another thing to keep in mind with the rule change, and it is an absolute massive rule change, and that is that you aren't allowed to tackle an attacking player in the air anymore from a kick. So how it used to be, if you're not 100% sure, you used to not be able to tackle a player defensively. So if you put a bomb up and the defensive player jumped up in the air and you laid a hand on him, it would be a penalty. On the flip side, if the attacking team put the kick up and the attacking chaser caught the ball, you could grab him. You could grab him in the air and tackle him as long as it wasn't dangerous. Obviously, if you flipped him over and he landed on his head, it would be a penalty. But you were able to wrap him up while he was in the air and sort of nullify the attacking kick to a big extent. This year, they've reverted back, and now you are not allowed to tackle either player in the air. So it brings in the big wingers. Now, I don't know, Sivo under the high ball, he's probably pretty adept, so I think this could be a huge thing for him. And I think, Sivo, honestly, I don't know. I think I'm going to go with him. And they're taking on the Bulldogs in round 1, dude. So, yeah, very, very tempting. Justin O'Neill, number 6. Like, this is what I'm talking about. The top echelon of prices, it's pretty weak. I mean, Justin O'Neill, like, absolutely not. Hopewade, honestly, he's not a bad pickup, but I wouldn't be going Hopewade. I think he's a solid 50-55 average player, but I think there's better upside players for around the same price than Hopewade. Brian Tato from the Penrith Panthers, he's another guy that I'm very tempted by. Again, he's expensive, $527, but he's a little absolute beast, dude. It's just the tackle breaking, the carries. He's just a monster, and he can find the try line. Like I don't think, like I said, I don't think the Panthers are gonna be amazing this year, but Tato, I think he's just gonna score tries. He's a try scorer, so I'm tempted by Tato, but I don't think I'm gonna, like, the thing is, the way my team is gonna be structured, I don't think I'm gonna be able to afford a Sivo and a Tato. Or I'm not going to be able to afford a Latrell Mitchell and a Sivo or a Tato. Like, I'm going to have to choose like one one gun, and then probably like one mid-range or like a couple of mid-ranges and lower prices. So out of the three, I would probably put, at the moment, I'm leaning towards Sevo as my number one gun player, and then probably Mitchell. But they're pretty close. It's just the fact that Mitchell is so much more expensive. I mean, 100k more, so that's a factor. And then Tato is like number three, because I think he's a little bit more suspect in that Panthers side. Jaden Aachen, he was a good cheapie last year, but I would be going nowhere near him at 526k. Bronson Sherry, I'd actually penciled him in for the starting team, but he's coming back from a shoulder injury, so I don't know. We'll see. Like, it's saying expected round 1 or 2. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't mind if he comes like round 2, just so my decision is easy. Because if Bronson Sherry is fit, like 523, that's definitely underpriced for what he can do. Like, he is a guy that can bang out tons easier than anyone. And last year, he bombed so many tries and so many opportunities with dropping the ball. He's just absolutely electric. I've got to wait and see the trials to see if he plays a trial game, see what the injury's like. But I really am I was tempted, but the injury concern is obviously a big one. So yeah, he definitely factors into the calculations between like Tato, Sevo, and probably if Sherry was like 100% fit and not an injury concern, I'd probably be putting Sherry above all of them as my number one. But yeah, that could change. Daniel Tupou, he's, again, the decision with like the new ruling with the kicks and stuff. Tupou comes into huge calculations. I mean, Tupou always averages pretty well. Like, he always gets around 50. He runs the ball a lot, tackle breaks, gets the odd try. There is the big concern here. He's not playing outside of Latrell Mitchell, who used to set him up a lot. But yeah, the new kicking rules, I mean, Tupou is going to be like, I think Tupou is going to capitalize more than anybody. Like, he's incredible in the air, and you know, if he's getting like free runs to the try line, he's going to be tough to stop. Very tough to stop. Brian Kelly from the Titans had a good year last year. I think he's going to have another good year point scoring wise, but I wouldn't be going Brian Kelly. I think there's just better options for the around the same prices. Kelly in that Titans side. Blake Ferguson, he's another guy that I think he's pretty underpriced. I mean, last year he had a bit of a up and down year at the Eels. He had some really good games, and then he had some pretty low scoring games. And he's like Tupou. I think he could capitalize very, very heavily with this new ruling. And I think the Eels are going to be a fairly high scoring team again. So Ferguson, he's definitely in the calculations with the other guys I've talked about. Jack Bird, there is a little bit of interest there for sure. There is talk that he might snatch the fullback spot over Azarko. And I don't know, if he got the fullback spot, it would be tough not to go with him. Honestly, it would be tough not to. But if he's playing center, or he might not even play. I don't know. Jack Bird's up in the air because the Broncos, I mean, they've got so many outside backs. I don't know where he's going to play. So Jack Bird, just a little watch list at the moment. Jared Croaker, you know, I think he had like his worst season last year, but he still averaged around like 50. I probably wouldn't be going Croaker, but he's always a safe bet. Brett Morris, when I made my first team, I actually did have Brett Morris because he's probably going to be playing center with Billy Smith being out injured. But I sort of backtrack on that because I don't think Brett Morris at center is really going to I think he's going to go well, but I don't think he's going to be one of the top scoring outside backs. You know, he's not really. He doesn't take that many carries at the best of times. And at center, you know, he's going to heavily rely on attacking stats, so I probably wouldn't go him. Adokar, Adokar is always like he's the absolute gamble. I mean, Adokar can easily put on 3 tons in a row, but then he can also go very low a couple of weeks. Like he heavily relies on try scoring, and I mean he's a try scoring machine, but I couldn't go him. I couldn't go him at the start. Ruben Garrick I wouldn't be going. You know, he's pretty expensive now. He obviously was a cheapie a while back, and he's priced accordingly, but I wouldn't be going Ruben Garrick. Esan Masters, he's definitely one to keep an eye on. I wouldn't think he'd be goal kicking at the Cowboys. Valentine Holmes, you would expect would be, because Masters really isn't that good a goal kicker. At the Tigers, he was pretty rubbish, and I think Holmes is like a pretty solid kicker. But I mean, Masters had a pretty bad year last year. He's still the only thing, like he's still high, like he's still almost 500k. I was expecting him to be a fair bit cheaper, and I was very, very tempted. But at 500k, I don't know, dude. Like he's got the potential. Like he's a very, very good player. He's got the offload and try scoring ability, try setting up ability. Like he's a solid player, but I don't know. It's a tough one. And then we go down here. Anyone else pique the interest? I mean, Joey Leilua, he definitely piques my interest because he's an absolute gun. I don't think I could go him just because I have no idea how the Tigers are going to use him. I don't know what he's going to do. It is exciting with him and his brother at the Tigers. If they were playing on the same side, it'd be pretty exciting footy. And honestly, I mean, if Luciano was playing on his side, that would put my percentage of picking him up a lot, because Luciano is a very skillful ball player, and I don't know, I just think those two guys are going to try to work in tandem, and I think if they are on the same side, they'll try to do a few plays with each other, and it could really help Joey Leilua. I'm excited to see it regardless, but could I go him? I'm tempted. I'm definitely tempted. And then going down here, Joseph Manu. He's a guy that I'm tempted. I don't think I'd go though. I think there's probably better options. Braden Burns. Braden Burns is definitely a guy I'm keen on, but obviously injuries are a concern. This honestly, this is the issue. There's so many players that are expensive, but obviously not top dollar in the center wing, and it's a gamble as who you go with. You can't afford all of them, but there's a lot of good ones. Going down here, one of the guys I do have locked in at the moment is Jermaine Azarko, and I'm not thrilled about it, but I'm also pretty happy. If Azarko starts at fullback, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with him, but it's a gamble because I don't think Azarko has the work rate of a lot of other fullbacks. So I don't think he's not going to be, top echelon for fullbacks, but I think he'll score well. He's obviously going to be doing the goal kicking for the Bronx, and I think the Bronx have a lot of points in them potentially. So yeah, at the moment I've got him. At the moment, we'll see what happens with the Broncos teams if he does clench that fullback spot. And I guess the thing is with Azarko is if he plays well at fullback, he'll stay there, and if he plays well, he'll score well. So yeah, hopefully it lines up. We go down here, Philip Sammy. I was actually very tempted, but again, he's expensive. I mean, he's 400k, but he was injured pretty much all last year, but he's still expensive, dude. So I can't go him, but I think Sammy is a guy you should keep an eye on. I think he'll have a big year. I think he looked really fit in the nines. He's such a good mover, dude. Like he's got the best fullback in the game. besides Tuivasa-Sheck and maybe Ponga. It's a close second or third. Semi is just absolutely electric on his feet, dude. He is so good. He's so good to watch. And then we go down. Honestly, a guy that I didn't really give any thought to originally, but I saw recently Isaiah Yeo at 400k. He's obviously dual second row center. He's going to be playing second row for the Panthers. Last year, I think he had a fairly interrupted year. Like, I don't know if it was really injuries. I feel like he was concussed a fair bit last year. Might have been the odd injury, but he is a guy. I mean, at 400,000 as a second row, starting second row, it's extremely tempting because he's a guy that's going to score decent. I don't think Yo's going to be. He's not going to be incredible like it's shown in the last few seasons. He's not a guy that's going to get 60, 70 average, but he can average 50 plus, and just being able to bank on easy points in the centers, it is a fairly big thing. So he's one to keep an eye on. Kurt Capewell going to the Panthers, he's also one to keep an eye on. I mean, I don't know where he's going to play. I'll be interested to see the Panthers lineup, but if Capewell gets a starting second row spot, I mean, he might have a bit more upside than Isaiah Yeo, potentially. So he's a guy definitely to keep an eye on. And then we go down the list here. Anyone else sort of catch the eye? Wanga Blake is pretty cheap, but apparently he's coming back from a shoulder injury. I don't really think I would go there. There are some. I know there's some guys further down the list. We'll get to. Suliasi, he's pretty. A couple of years ago, he was one of the top center wings, but he definitely had a bit of a shocker last year. I don't think I would take the gamble on him, but very, very underpriced for what he can do. Bryson Goodwin is back in the NRL. I think when he was here, he was like a pretty decent Supercoach player. I think he did do the goal kicking though back in the day, so he obviously loses those points. Wouldn't be going there. Tyrone Peachy, he looked very fit. He looked very good in the nines. Again, I don't know where he's going to be playing, but he's a guy to. I'm also keeping an eye on him, Yo, and what's his name? Capewell. Those three guys are sort of in the same echelon that I'm keeping an eye on. Nick Kotrick, I'm also very tempted because he's probably going to be playing center with Curtis Scott going to be missing for a while. He's, obviously an absolute beast. Didn't go that well last year. I'm surprised at how bad he obviously went, but he's a guy that can easily average 50, 60 plus. So, yeah, very tempted with him. As we go down the list, Bailey Simonson is a good player. Fusatua. Now, this is a gamble, dude. Fusatua had an absolute shocker last year. He didn't score any points. I don't know how many tries he got off the top of my head, but it felt like he got no points at all. Could this be the year? Mamalu scored them all last year. Is it now Fusatua's turn? Honestly, I don't think I would do it because it's just a huge risk, and I'd rather the save points. But if you wanted a gamble, I think Fusatua is a really good gamble early on in the season. He just needs to score a couple of tries and he's going to get big points. So, and he's a try scoring freak. And also, he is. I said Daniel Tupou. Probably Fusatua is the biggest recipient of the new bomb change with not being able to be tackled in the air, because Fusatua is incredible in the air. So that could spell huge for Fusatua. I'm sort of talking myself into Fusatua, dude. Because then we go down here, Adam Dewey. I've got him at the moment, but I'm not locked in on Dewey. Obviously, he's going to be playing fullback for the Tigers, probably. He's going to be goal kicking, probably. But at the Rabbitohs, he wasn't that good. Even when he was playing fullback, outside of like a Cody Walker, he didn't score that well. So I'm not I'm not locked in, and I'm sort of like Dewey versus Fusatua. Dewey's probably a more safe bet, but Fusatua, dude, that's starting to look pretty tempting. So I don't know, dude. Ryan Hall, he's very tempting, but again, he's coming off a serious injury. He's probably going to get the starting wing spot, and I mean, he's a guy that he's a powerhouse. He's going to carry the ball a lot. He's a tackle breaking machine. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on him to see if he comes back well in the trials, to see how he goes. It's tough, dude. I'm gonna struggle. I'm gonna struggle to pick my center wings, because Ryan Hall, I'm very tempted by him. And then we go down Zack Lomax. I think I'm pretty much locked in on Zack Lomax. He's playing fullback for the Dragons. I think he's probably going to goal kick as well, but he's a guy, even if he doesn't goal kick, I think him at fullback, he's got a lot of talent. And I think I'm pretty well locked in with Lomax. I think he's not going anywhere for me at the moment. As we go down the list, Branko Lee, Branko Lee, he should be at the Storm, right? He should be at the Storm, not the freaking Titans. Billy Smith, obviously, unfortunately, he's gone for the season, probably. He was going to be almost a certainty at center there for the Roosters, but obviously not there. Kurt Mann is another guy. He's probably going to get that 5'8" spot at the Knights at 280k. I don't think he's going to set the world on fire, but he's going to be a money maker for sure. And then go down here. Jason Saab is a guy that potentially can make some money, but he might not get named. We don't know yet. Tristan Sailor. I think Sailor is probably he's probably favourite to get the spot over Jason Saab. I mean, I think Sailor is a better player. So he's a guy to keep an eye on, potential basic cheapie almost. Then we go down here. Tane Milne, I talked about a bit in the second row. I'm surprised he hasn't played for the Warriors. I think he might have played one game last year, but I potential cheapie. Bradman Best, he's basically locked in for me as well. He's got a lot of talent. He looked pretty good last year. He's starting basically cheapie, so I think he's basically locked in for me. Herbie Farnworth is an absolute gun, but I'd be very surprised if he gets a spot at the Broncos, but he is an absolute weapon. I love Farnworth, dude. He's a machine. I want to see more of him, but I don't think he's going to get the chance, unfortunately. Then we got Tommy Taleo, was tipped to be one of the cheapies of the year, but obviously with Leigh Lewis signing, it sort of made it harder. But I think Taleo could still get a spot there. Xavier Coates could get a spot at the Broncos. Tyrell Fui Marino is a decent cheapie potential. And then this guy, Niu, at the Nines, he was absolutely unreal. 18 years old, and he was incredible. I'd be very surprised if he plays for the Broncos this year, but he looked an absolute gun. He looks so good. So I'm very excited for him in the future. And then the rest of them are just cheapies that may or may not get picked, so we just have to wait until team list Tuesdays. But I do have Liliciao. But he is... He's a guy that at the Titans, surely he is going to get a spot. He's been touted as an absolute weapon for so long now. He was at the Eels. I'm pretty sure, did he change clubs, or has he just been at the Eels pretty much the whole time? But I don't think he ever got a spot at the Eels full side. He played in the Nines. He didn't really get too many opportunities at the Nines in the Titans kit. But he is a potential cheapie. So yeah, that's the center wing. So many tough choices. Once again, let me know what you guys think. Any Any dark horses, any traps, who you going with, any I didn't really talk about, but yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying this series. Make sure to like and comment, and I'll see you in the next one.